Unfiltered inner child. I think this might go there or somewhere else on one of my other channels. Either way, I really wanted to talk about this topic. Let's give gratitude, of course. I really wanted to talk about this topic. Why I realized the jealousy aspect. Why I can see behind a lot of people who become high in status, move away or do certain things to come into who they are. And this is not always the case, but when it comes to healing and then regulate your nervous system, there's gonna come a point in time where you have to move away, because you're gonna want to have to move away from the things that kept you in the similar cycles, and that's financially, mentally, and emotionally. A part of you has to go outside of your comfort zone. Now, what I realized from my perspective, where a lot of jealousy can stem from, has a lot to do with, I always keep pointing out, abandonment wounds. For a need for someone to want to be or have this deep insecurity or desire to be in someone else's position really highlights for me like an abandonment wound, because it's in a way that you're not getting the attention that you felt or you feel this person deserves. So therefore you have to, in whatever reason, through the lack thereof or unaware of, like how when you see even the initiation through, I'm just using examples or people I know of lived experience, they are a part of groups, covens, or just a part of things to where they're trying to fill some type of void of emptiness inside. And even behind whatever group it is, there's still an intention behind, in these groups I've noticed, like, there's still this focus on who and what gets the attention. Even if you think on a higher perspective spiritually, how people who, people call them all Satanists, all this shit. I'm just giving examples. It's just like the energy goes somewhere. It has to go to whatever, it comes from whatever source and returns. So from all of this as source, the all, what is that called? Energy doesn't return void. Meaning in a sense of like, there's always an intention behind the behavior pattern. There's always the attention behind what people do. There's a reasoning behind a lot of it. And the reason why I relate so much to even seeing, again, the abandonment wound play out in a country and environment where it's so much forced in our face to, for you think about, like, if you really grew up in a rural area or whatever, and you never have the encouragement around appreciating the simplest things. So you never get out of that survival mentality. You never get out of that mindset of you gotta have, hustle. You gotta get this by all means necessary. And if no one ever encouraged you to just simply appreciate the simplest things, just like I talked before about the inner child aspect of, like, you got kids in other countries and even here, it's not just other countries, but everywhere, that they learn there's something innately in them to appreciate the simplest things. Now, when you force people to separate themselves because of the fact of create this separation within and prey on the woundings of them in such a manipulative way, because to force it in the face, like, oh, this person has this and you have to go this route to obtain it. And that comes from so many different directions if you're thinking about it. But it's someone or something that comes along with said information or something to bring forth a shift and so forth. And then you always hear about these tragic ass stories or the fact of how, you know, people want to stay or be in that savior complex. That's why the Messiah aspect can be perceived differently in so many different ways. That's why even in that context, Messiah can be perceived as anyone who's trying to uphold a savior complex, so that can be looked at in a holistic and a traumatic way. Meaning like someone who has a savior complex who's trying to come in and try to save the day and, you know, in this heroic way. And then you have people look towards them because they feel like they can connect with this person and so forth. And this is where they get a following. And that's the thing I'm always going to remind people. The things that I share, I am not to be looked at as like, not even but just we as in people. We were not created to be idolized. No. That's people who have lost, and that's why I encourage the Innerchild, because people who have lost sight of their inner compass, their inner dialogue. And that's why I see how jealousy, envy, and so forth, because again, over time, this energy, this thing becomes almost like that of a monster. And how we're fed, because it could be jealousy, then it turns into envy. So how it's fed is like, this is why I tell y'all, even people on certain platforms, and no matter their status and so forth, even know that they still got to move with discernment, because they're still spiritual just like any other regular individual. Everyone here is going through something to where they know they have to move strategically, simply because spiritually, you know, it's nothing to fear. It's just the awareness around, you know, people dealing with shit. Let's be real. You know, people dealing with stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you. And most of the time, you know, to protect yourself, as some may say, to protect your neck, you gotta watch out. You gotta be mindful. But I'm getting to the root cause of like where this stuff stems from, bro. Like, you gotta think about it. Stems from a deep insecurity. It stems from, me personally, I feel abandonment wounds. When someone feel like you don't deserve something, the life that you're having and so forth, and then you got people again having to move the way they move for their own protection. That's wild. It's wild because you want to feel like you want to be able to live amongst people and so forth. And when I think about the powers that used to be and all this shit that has convinced people to even flex, you know, their materials, or, you know, which I see a form as like, it's the intention behind it. Who are you? What are you trying to do and prove to anybody? Even the ones that, you know, those who know, people flex in a different way. I see it in certain neighborhoods. Like, people consider just because I'm wearing this a flex. I know the intention behind it. At the same moment, I know, and so forth, it's a form of self-expression. It's a form of just me expressing who I am because I like gold, or I like simple things, or I just like colors. I like expressing myself. Again, that will reveal their deep insecurities and so forth. Like, what am I not supposed to do? Express myself? All this is a form of expression. But when it's not, the expression is not coming, when it's coming from a place, or when it's not coming from a place of a sense of security, you can see people, when I look at a lot of these neighborhoods, it's so copycat. It's so, you got to keep up. This person's grass cut at 3 inches. I got to cut mine at 2.5. Type shit. So I'm telling you, y'all be surprised. I know people, man, people that the conversations, oh well, who is Tom, who is Robert, you know, who is this da 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 and da 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 da. Well, how do I get connected? It'd be so much backdoor shit. Y'all realize it'd be really a whole bunch of children. It'd be a whole bunch of insecure as, when I say insecure adults, It's like children that really just display the fact of they gotta show you that they got this. And it's the same thing when you get a new fucking toy. Think about it. It's just like the same thing when you get a new toy. And so for someone to want something more than what you have, and they'll hurt you behind it, bro, I don't see kids do the same thing. I see kids do the same thing. That's my toy. That's da-da-da. This is how y'all look as human beings. That's my land. That's my this. This is my that. This is my this. This is my that. You don't belong here. Go live over there. This is y'all. Tell you, boy, this unfiltered inner child is it's the unfilteredness of like how y'all really look right now. Y'all, I told you, the source sees y'all as little ass kids. Unevolved little kids. Like little, that's how I see little kids that don't know how to get along. They gotta, I'm more stronger than you. I'm more powerful than you. I have more, this is how y'all be sounding. When shit be projected to the world. This person really be back there. Then you hear these people, artists, it don't matter who they are. I have more money than you. I got more sales than you. They don't convince y'all goofy ass to think just because, oh, such and such is number one. Oh my gosh, I gotta do whatever I can to be number one. Number one in what? You ain't number one in your world. What are you doing? If you don't feel number one in your world, what are you doing? What are you focused on? I'm number one in my world. Period. No one can come over here and tell me I'm not. And I'm going to instill in my kids to know that. That's confidence. Self-confidence. You're number one in your world. People with deep insecurities will not get that. That's where the jealousy and envy come. They get so focused on your life and so forth. That's why this shit has become so dangerous. Y'all don't even realize how we've been tricked. We tricking ourselves out of position because we feel like if we're not number one, you're so focused on this woman, this person, to where if you don't feel like you're getting that much attention, if you're not number one on the Forbes, you're not number one on the Instagram, if you're not trending, you're not this, you're not, I be sitting back like, oh my gosh. Does that I guess in some people's world that really does matter. For me, it just screams deep insecurities, abandonment wounds. And some people don't even know they've been a part of it. All of it is printing out childhood wounds. Keep feeding y'all stuff that doesn't, like, when you look at the root of it, it's like, what is it rooted in? Think about it. What is that shit rooted in? Oh, I live in Glenwood. I live in the outskirts of Columbus. I live in I wouldn't know. I would have no idea. Then associate myself. You know the beauty of life that I've learned, even through my inner child, is that it's beautiful to experience so many people. It's actually enlightening to actually hear other people's perspective. I saw a guy today at the library. I'm in the quiet room. And, you know, for someone who comes from what we call the South, and then someone who meets someone who looks like you, then you hear him talk, and then you know he doesn't speak English as fluent. I'd be admired, but I'm like, whoa, so what's his first language? But it's still cool. You think I'm not going, now? That's like, oh, well, the women, he's, whatever his nationality is, you know, the women probably want to accept and like me because I'm not from their country. Look at what y'all be going back and forth. Y'all so divided, bro. It's ridiculous. Y'all so divided. It's so many different things. Y'all find ways to divide yourself. Ew. 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 Y'all find so many ways to divide yourselves. Don't even be recognizing it. Find any reason and you wanted to say, I'm not jealous of this person. Yes, you are. You have an abandonment wound. You're jealous of the attention that they get. You're so concerned about if they're getting this attention. And it's not, the focus not being on you. Why do you care so much about that? Who taught you that? Where did you learn this from? Even if you didn't learn from your parents, look at the media. Look at all this stuff. Who taught you that? That you should care. And y'all go through it every day. It's all on social media. It's everywhere. The cleansing is happening for sure through the social media right now. They'll throw shit right in your face and know your triggers. Trigger your ass right there. I be looking at shit. I don't want to see this. I be like, I don't want to see this shit. I have to find something that make me laugh. Shit be so messy. And I ain't gonna front. It be messy. I'll be like, oh my God, this shit is hilarious. That's why you hear people say, oh, you think you better. So that's basically hinting at the fact you throwing shade or you throw. So you feel some type of way? Because I don't want to live a certain way? Because I don't want to act a certain way? Because I don't want to subscribe to a religion? Because I don't want to do this? Because I don't want to use my money this way? Because I don't want to do... Look at all this shit. People have been so... the woundings and insecurities are so loud that you have to sit back and you'll watch someone flourish. And through your own internal insecurity and jealousy, most likely abandonment, you will abandon getting to know yourself deeper to meet that person where they are. Distance yourself and watch. That's weird. That's some strange shit. Your countries, and all these other places, even your sports, everything. Your Olympics, all these different things that highlight first, second, third, and so forth will literally have people going in a fucking frenzy. You got people here who literally fight over the fact of their child or somebody coming in second place, third place. And I get it, the competitiveness. But y'all got so far into it to where the lengths you will go to make sure you or your child is number one. And let me tell you how so much of the abandonment plays out through them, because you will bi-curiously live out your dreams through them. That's why I keep telling how you lost sight of the inner child. You lost sight of the fact of just being present, enjoying the experience, and make the best of it. All I'm highlighting is the fact of how we can learn to assert ourselves in a more healthier. Ooh, another boy. This falcon, beautiful falcon, just flew to the top of this tree. But anywho, that's how I feel like the falcon. It's like from a bird's eye view, looking at all of this shit go on. I'm like, And it's privacy, because the falcon is very, very, a very powerful spiritual totem. But anywho, yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. Once y'all start to realize, like, low self-esteem pretty much is connected to jealousy. There's something you haven't accepted in yourself to where either you're living out your dreams or living out your purpose, or in your inability to actually get to know yourself, you literally try to, what's that saying goes, keep up with the Joneses, or try to keep up with someone else to feel seen, to feel acknowledged. And then as soon as someone comes along, or you whisper, just because y'all think women do that, men do it too. Just because y'all don't see stuff doesn't mean nothing. I can walk, and I've been in places, and it's just the fact of, like, I can really sense the fact of, just because I present myself, the looks, the stares, I'm not saying none of this matters. It's just the fact of the energy. It's the energy. And for some people, you wonder why people go away and stay away, because you're dealing with the level of, it's not so much being scared, because you're already living a life that you're scared of, because you wouldn't be confident in it. I'm talking about the fear aspect. You know that people who fear you outshining them in spotlight, that's envy, that's jealousy, whatever you want to call it. They will go to the lengths of making sure you don't progress. What do you call that? But you have to look at the core. You have to look at the root causes of this. You have a country and people and everything around it that fuels that. I got stuff coming up like, look at the cheerleading events. Look at all these different things. Look at all these different things that place people here, and they're against each other. All this shit they be having y'all, they got this, they got that, they got this. And the lengths people go to make sure, but you still always come out on top. That be the wow shit to me. Because that's the thing about, like, what jealousy can do. It can fuel the fact of a smear campaign happening. That's what I realize has happening even when you think about on so many levels, whether you are me just as outside of this gender as a man, but an indigenous man. It's like the karma that of going through to see how I am perceived. And it's so many different things, like what's being put out there just because of what people are accustomed to, what they become accustomed and comfortable with when it comes to just a man that is darker. In America, but not just any man, because you know the ones that are from other countries, it's like, why is so much of the focus on me progressing? And then outside of that, you getting the attention or the focus being on you more than outside of you being an athlete, outside of you being in entertainment or certain things that, again, that pushes a narrative of most likely ego, wounded ego, hustle, violence, you know, very, very chaotic shit, but never nothing that's really wholesome, balanced, and structured. Giving off an image or something like that. The importance of well-being for sure. Why I don't have, because again, it eventually revealed the energy. I feel like that's like the collective energy that is going to be revealed when it comes to deep-seated insecurities around people who you just assume, just because they had it all doesn't mean that they're not stable within themselves. Especially when they're not willing to evolve. As much as you want to assume that they're stable, who decides that? Y'all let people decide that just because of what? What's been given to y'all? What y'all been force-fed? Because this person is said to believe, to live here and to have this and all these different things. Y'all been given this narrative that they're more stable. And it's funny how you start to now see how much these characters are coming out that were a part of these industries or a part of these same structures. And it's funny how it's being highlighted how unbalanced and unstable that they really are. Like I said, that industry, all this other shit, entertainment, all that shit to me ain't nothing but just like another high school another school system that I wasn't a part of. That's how I look at it. It's just if this is a school of life, that's just a school that that's a private school. There ain't no telling what's going on in there. Yep. Think about it. Principle. For we don't fight with flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high and low places, principalities and so forth. Principle. So that's why characters are going to be revealed when it comes to, you think that those people they don't have a principal, assistant principal, ushering in of everything to keep whatever it is afloat? See, now I'm going somewhere with this. You think that they don't have peer pressure? You think there isn't, you know what happens in schools, especially in these schools in America? You know what happens? You hear about the most tragic things that happen. That's how I look at other people, wherever they are in their world, in the hills. I don't been out there. Knows the energy of them places. I told you I don't been out there. I don't model. I don't been out into these places, and the energy and just what is so. It's not so much the darkness. It's so much of the malevolent forces, I would say. You know, you really have to be in tune, and mentally, spiritually, and physically, emotionally, like equipped to be in certain places. You know, because again, I mentioned before how people have been in a psychosis where they go in places and they don't even realize what they up against or dealing with. And so that's a whole nother thing, whole nother ball game. They can come out of it, but at the same moment, it's the awareness around, again, that shit to me ain't nothing but like a private school that practice arts, just like an art school. All of this shit has a meaning behind it. Everything is dealing with, it basically, it's like we living out Harry Potter. I told myself, it's funny I say this, watch this. Is it down here? My inner child wants us. You know what I'm saying? Yo, oh, y'all ain't know who I was. They ain't tell y'all. They ain't tell y'all what happens in the movies. All that stuff getting exposed, they ain't tell y'all. Huh? That movie was based off me. They ain't tell y'all. They ain't foretell y'all my coming. My forthcoming. They ain't tell y'all who I was, cuz. What's that on there? The Griffin, ain't it? It's like, boy, we living out the what is this? Hargar? How the fuck they say that shit? Yeah, it's like, boy, you in a movie. You in this shit magical. And basically, it's like, when you think about your gifts, why does this look like a wand? Think about how you paint. Shit is magical. Everything we do. Everything. So, yeah. I ain't tell y'all who I was. It's funny because, like, a lot of movies, a lot of things be really revealing shit. And I don't see how people don't relate it to their life. Like, once you start, you be like, oh, bitch, I missed some. Oh, shit. Oh, shawty. Oh, this was such and such. Oh, snap. Motherfucker think this nigga don't lost his mind. Hey, call it what you want. That's the power in the imagination. That's the power of me looking at the. I look at the clouds and can see art in the clouds. I've seen stuff. Those who know, like, you can look and be like, whoa. You can look at the trees, like the sacred geometry. You can look at the man. So much shit is so sacred. So much. But anywho, going back to like once you realize like a lot of things that's going to be revealed when it comes to the foundations of things, all of that is like a form of like a spell people been under. Hollywood's dead. Man, them old songs, they was warning people about Hollywood. Then you think about the term Hollywood, like there actually is a tree. I told you I had the opportunity to go to them places, but boy, the divine said, oh no, who you are, you will not use your energy, your magic, your creativity, your anything to be a part of that. Somebody came to my heart when I said that shit. God. You know how you want to just be like, F that person, but in reality, you realize like you were really a part of their path on some deeper shit. Like almost on some prophetic shit. Like they knew something, but then when you told them something, because you know how people can be so used to telling you something, but then you know something more deeper too. But the whole time you really just support each other on your path to where you come back into alignment and so forth to where it's like, wow, yeah, shit, wow. Because I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? This person was warning me, oh shit, the clarity I got, because when you think about that knee and Disney, you know, that knee and this knee, I was doing some art, and it's oddly enough how the art ended up with them, like the masterpiece. Again, think about the magic, how shit comes from inside of us, that we conjure up, that we literally imagination from your subconscious, and then you make that shit. What? That's anybody. But it's also the intention behind it. That's why those who know spiritually how powerful shit is, like when you can really do some shit to where, yeah. But anywho, what I just mentioned about that knee and this knee is what has recently come out about the child corn, you know, and stuff, and which doesn't surprise me and so forth, because the energy is being revealed around a whole lot of this shit. And when I was out there, because if you don't know, out in the Bay Area, I believe it was called Emeryville, where they had a certain studio, and there was like, what is it called? Pixar. And you know, you got to realize like all of these foundations I tell y'all are connected. All of these structures, infrastructures, no matter what you try to be a part of, you have not only subconscious seeds have been planted, but you have unconsciously been a part of a loop until you actually acknowledge it. And then now, the veil is thin. So you beginning to see how magical you are, how powerful you are, how abundant and prosperous you are. And that person then saw something within me. I see the protection she was, and I'm grateful because, man, yeah. I realized whole time, sometimes people be on your path, they're not just karmic. Everyone's karmic in some type of way, but they also be giving you hindsight on some shit that you ain't even able to see. Shout out to all the mothers, shout out all the women, the spiritualists, the you know the titles I don't have to name, but shout out to y'all, man. Gratitude, because if it's anybody, even through the polarity of things, if you know people who operate in the shadows and people who knowingly operate in the shadows but still are battling shit that y'all don't, you know, that's unforeseen to y'all, shout out to them. May a divine protection be placed upon all those who are ushering something to be a bridge for these kids, these souls, these innocent beings, and so forth. Because justice is here. You best believe it. But anywho, shout out to them, like, because yeah, I know who they are. That's why for me it's like I haven't forgot. Even in my own ignorance, even in my own wounded ego, even in rising into ego and forgetting about the balance, I ain't forgot because I'm grateful. Um, there aren't words in a way because we here with it. But anywho, shout out to them because they knew some shit I didn't know. When I was in California, boy, let me tell you something. Cali is such a fucking magical and spiritual place. Everywhere is a magical and spiritual place. It's a different journey, experience, timeline. It's a different everything. Because your inner child more so is still not so much fighting, but also when you're realizing like the depths of things that's rooted in insecurities or abandonment wounds and so forth, you are in what can seem like a battle to retrieve and recover that little boy and girl within you and keep that alive and well. That's the magic in that shit. When things want to, you have to keep your imagination alive. That's why it's so important what you have in your home. It's so important who you allow into your space to have access to you. But yeah, they told me not to, because I was considering, which I didn't realize then was more so of a spiritual thing, to where they was like, no, do not give your art to, those to that production or to those people. Do not do that. And I ain't know what it meant then, but I got more clarity of it because it eventually again. I realized it was for her specifically. And I'm not going to go into too much of depth, the reason why, but I just knew that it was specifically for her in a protection aspect. So other than that, that was a beautiful experience to learn from it. Because again, a lot of these connections are to reveal a part of you, a sense of what you felt was lost. So that's why I always reference the inner child and so forth, because a part of you is regaining that sovereignty and authority from that which you felt like was like scattered across who knows where, over time. And so now, that's the beauty of the healing or the bringing more balance and structure in your life. It's very significant, very, very significant. And so no one has taken, I feel, they've tried to manipulate things to keep you from, more so connecting or reconnecting to that. And that's what a lot of these relationships have done and exposed for me, because when I do recognize someone who could have a deep jealousy or envy and so forth, that shit was revealed, especially out there. Oh my gosh. Because I was telling y'all about that. Like, here you are just expressing yourself, moving around and so forth. You're in a whole new place. But you would never think that people that were right up under you and so forth, as you begin to express your essence, express your artistry, your creativity, as you rebuild your confidence, it'll slowly reveal that people who are blocked in, let's say, the sacral chakra or the root chakra and so forth, will want to, as you're building this energetically and then it physically start to form, think about that as a spiritual aspect and then physical. You notice how, again, whatever they're dealing with, vices, forces at play and so forth, wants to remove that abruptly so that you have to start all the way the fuck over. Yeah. And that's why, like, dang, I'm getting clarity of some shit. It's like at a time where I feel like it wasn't significant to just throw people to, not throw them, but forget about everything in its entirety. I'm getting clarity now, like why I would still and knowingly have, what some call like paying your dues, which is another form of just saying like paying your karmic debts. You know what I'm saying? So, um, which it don't matter how far you go and so forth. No, a lot of shit that's collapsing, people don't realize it's a part of karmic debts being paid. And even after that, people still will be indebted to people because of so much they have like orchestrated when it came to people being in a loop of karma. You know, they could have supported, they could have done certain things, you know, and that's on all levels, but yeah. But other than that, yeah, I was getting clarity of the fact of the significance of when that painting was there. Like, that's wild. Like, I was going through stuff, and I was in that area too. I was led to that area, and it's wild because when I was actually going to go, they were like, no. Like, no. Your painting or your art is much more grander, much more bigger. It needs to be witnessed and so forth. And they were like, yeah. And there were other things we didn't agree on, which I realized like that it's part of them coming into their awareness, and a lot of what they said had a lot to do with their internal battle. But for me, I realized like my rebuttal to all of that is like they're gonna see me in a position where they would mention me saying I what is that talk too much or something like that, and it immediately triggered me because I was like, what? You're just not used to someone like this. And I realized like in my what you call talking too much reminded me of people when I was younger who didn't want to be exposed or bring awareness to something that was very vital, or me expressing my sensitivity around a situation, which now I embody. So I was like, oh yeah, fuck that. And you respectfully, because those who know when you start to rebuild your confidence and self-esteem, your being too much is just not enough for those people because they don't feel like they're enough, or they don't feel like they've had an opportunity to speak up, or they probably were silenced. So one of my greatest gifts is realizing, for one, Gemini moon, which is ruled by Mercury, communication and so forth. Also the fact of knowing what I dealt with in my childhood and so forth, when it comes to my gifts, even being not even just not supported, but also the silence, like wanting, you know, the attempts to be silenced in so many different ways. And I'm like, oh no. You can tell me something on the surface, but the divine has revealed something to me otherwise. So this ain't just about your ass. This is bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not bigger than the program, and neither are you. And so I recognize even the energy there where I was with in that person and so forth. And just so happened they end up like again running from the dynamic, because I realized again over time a lot of these things really reveal what people are hiding within themselves, because they sabotage it in that way, or that's also what jealousy or envy can reveal in certain people, is that they'll try to sabotage whatever you're trying to build towards, or play God, if someone you want to use that term, or basically play the Most High, or play the position of a God, or play the position of trying to dictate your life, or act as if they have rulership and so forth. And no one does, especially when you go into depths of sovereignty. Like, no, that's on a deeper level of people having their own free will and are here to do what they're called to do. So again, I that was something that over time I started to see revealed, because sometimes people say things because they have a deep insecurity, or they never been in a position where they can actually express themselves authentically. And so yeah, ain't no hard feelings and so forth, but this is the beauty of embracing and embodying the love that, you know, which again is through self-expression, you realize like this is a part of me flourishing. This is a part of me blossoming And as much as that those people didn't think it was important then, they're going to see me on the world stage through whatever platform or um, whatever the divine sees fit. You know, of course through divine protection, but you know, that's going to be the thing that I realized, like, with almost like having the last laugh, because I remember how the energy of the person when they were in then is just so 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 yeah, it was just so gloomy. It was just so gloomy, and all I wanted to do was just, you know, just all those connections. Then, like, it's just so gloomy, and that's a whole nother thing that I was writing about too, because there was another connection I was in. Like I said, during those moments, I easily got bored with people because of the fact of, like, I was so outgoing, I was so adventurous. Like, my inner child, all it wanted to do was fucking play. Now, through the karmic nature, play around with people, but at the same moment, I still wanted to play, like, enjoy. That's why I would go try. Everywhere I was at, I would travel, I would do certain things, I would explore. And I feel like a lot of people become obsessive over that. It's because that's where the jealousy can stem from, because you can be a people person or a sociable butterfly, or just basically express yourself unapologetically, because, you know, unapologetically to where people don't take a liking to it. And again, it reflects their insecurities and or abandonment wounds, to where if they learn how to show up for themselves, they wouldn't be so focused on how other people receive attention. But again, when you have society and all this bullshit, false structure of, we gotta see this person and hear about their relationship, we gotta hear about this on the headline. No, we do not. I could care less about these insecure ass people. I can care less about this insecure ass network and all this other shit that wants to keep my nervous system dysregulated. Because once I realized, like, it's getting in the way of what's stable and peaceful, then I realized all you trying to bring is chaos and war, division. All you trying to bring into my life is some shit that you're internally battling with. And now you go be a part of those structures and so forth, and you thinking it's a way out. Whole time, it's the same shit you running from. These people get a part of these businesses and corporations, it's the same shit they running from. It's on all levels. Y'all running from yourself. And that's how I realized, like, it's funny, because in the dream state, the person was running from me or running away. And I was like, yeah, they running from themselves. I'm just a fucking mirror. Just as they was a mirror. There's certain things I didn't want to accept, but we're mirrors of each other. Especially when you're dealing with, I would say, like, we both were Scorpios. So yeah, we definitely were emotional mirrors, to where I realized it had a lot to do with emotional abandonment. So me, I could express it. They kept it down. And then knowing that dynamic, then I know we both dealt with sexual trauma. So a lot of things were revealing, and it was telling that this person dealt with emotional abandonment. And they didn't know I knew, but over time I did. And so that's the thing I tell you, when you're in things where people have dealt with abandonment, it can become very dangerous, because also when I know I was dealing with that, you find yourself in things unrequited, but also like triangulated or love triangles, to where people, you know, you're in something where this person don't fulfill your emotional needs because you don't know how to fulfill your own, and you try to go live that out through someone else or something, and, you know, through escapism, through sex and so forth. It's so many different things. And I recognized that, and I realized, like, over time, the connections I was in, that people became very possessive and jealous. And I just knew that, especially where I'm at now, I'm not here to be possessed, because for one, love cannot be possessed. Water cannot, it can be frozen, but eventually as it melts, it comes in so many different forms. So water in itself cannot be, like, controlled. You can attempt to control it, but you can't hold on to water. So we start to see love like that. It's like when you in your flow state, it's like I'm here to be experienced. I'm here to experience love. And and that's why I realized, like, in my inner child and childhood experience, I realized what I didn't experience. And what I did experience wasn't love, wasn't authentic, wasn't integrity, wasn't things that were high vibrational. So now I'm realizing that within myself and recognizing, like, oh, this is why clearly we couldn't be in alignment, or this is why clearly that I realized, like, your emotions are yours first, not mine. That which you try to project to me, that's not my world. That's your shit. Haha. So yeah. And people, their jealousy peaks from that. And that stems from, again, abandonment wounds. People's jealousy starts to peak. And that starts very young. Like I tell you, it starts very, very young. And I would say, like, it started young for me, especially like how I start to now as I heal the mother wound. I start to see it play out through the mother wound of my mom. You know, how nobody was ever good enough. Think about that. This is for a lot of you. When you think about how certain people really want you to stay around and they feel like no one's ever good enough for you, it says a lot about them. And eventually, their unhealthy attachment, which could, again, stem from jealousy or envy or something, to where you see this happen a lot with people in their relationships, like with their mother. A daughter, for some of y'all, your mother can be jealous of you. And again, that comes with not just narcissism, but again, emotional abandonment. Think about how some of y'all came in and it changed the whole dynamic when you were a child. For some of y'all, think about the fact of, like, the lengths your mama would go when it comes to your dad because of the attention you got if you were a little girl. Yeah. I've seen that shit happen where people they feel a ways, and this, what it does, it reveals a father wound. This is for a lot of y'all right now. It reveals a father wound in your mother, or some type of deep-seated abandonment, to where she'll intentionally, purposely try to ruin your relationship or sabotage the relationship with you, make up, manipulate, do whatever it is to keep you from getting to know this person. This can be some of y'all scenarios. That's why I tell you, the inner child aspect, whatever they didn't receive very young from their father and their mother, it literally repeats. And they'll play it out. They'll play their wounds out through you. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen with men too. Men with their daughters. Same scenario. They'll make the man out to be, they'll start comparing their experiences, their path. Like, well, he don't have this. Wait, nothing encouraging. It'll be from the fact of, like, well, I have this. Well, first of all, you're the father. This is your daughter. What are you talking about? It sounds very emotional incest to me. It sounds very unhealthy. Oh, now you really start to reveal yourself. Because now you want to sabotage, and you want this person to almost feel this place of sympathy for you, because you lack the emotional empathy for yourself. So therefore, you can't put yourself in her shoes or the person that she's with shoes, because you're emotionally you are emotionally abandoned. So therefore, you lean on your child's emotional support to support you. And that goes both ways, whether you're dealing with a mother and father wound. Seen it play out, lived it, acknowledge it, and don't live here no more. People will literally, this happens a lot when I tell you what, mothers smother their sons. Happens a lot. And especially when that man don't have a sense of self-esteem and growth. The deep-rooted aspect is your abandonment wound. That woman really jealous of you. That man really jealous of you. I told you I learned this over time with people. When I really start to see the importance of how certain connections played out, and when you express how you feel, you're expressing you're being sensitive to something that bothers you. Now, when somebody else trying to make their emotions more important than yours, red flag. Not only is that a red flag, but it's a red flag about definitely emotional abandonment. And then also when they try to make it more your emotions less valuable and so forth, emotional manipulation. Yep. They try to downplay your emotions, emotional manipulation. That's where it gets really challenging. Because it brings up so much stuff in that person that the energy has to play out. And then I've been learning that too. Like, let that shit play out. Sometimes you just gotta let that shit play out. And like I always said, I was telling somebody earlier, because it was actually a scenario that presented itself. I'm talking about this, where a mother and a father situation, which I don't take sides. I had to learn this. I don't take sides. I just recognize what the mother is putting down. I didn't point out and say this person is wrong or this. I just said, oh yeah, that's a mother wound. If this person is literally trying to turn their daughter against you in some type of way, shape, or form, that's a mother wound. Yeah, I gotta realize these battles are not y'all's. I had to learn that too. That battle is them. And you have to surrender to the fact of, when you surrender and say, hey, I surrender this situation, this circumstance, whatever it is, I surrender. You're telling yourself, which is the universe, which is a part of source, resource of source, you're surrendering in a way to where you're no longer battling with this person. You surrender the war in itself. Your surrenderance is a part of how they perceive it, like, oh, you waving a white flag. Yeah. To a battle that's not yours. And that's how you sometimes have to not even deceive the enemy, but you have to realize, like, how much you will sit back and observing will reveal so much. You'll recognize how undeveloped people are. You'll recognize things that you overlooked, you didn't think that was important. Then you also realize too, you've been coddling this person, this individual. You've been keeping this person from really seeing themselves. And when it really gets to that place, you eventually realize, okay, this is either me, I have to choose me, or I'm gonna have to just stay in it. And then if I stay in it, who can I blame? Or you gotta literally work on a way of alchemizing it while you're in it, and then focus on your departure, however that is. And I know that's tough for a lot of people, because let's say if it's children involved, you're going to have to grieve that. You're going to have to grieve everything around the situation, because you got to realize everything you built on the situation is a part of the illusion. That's a part of the acceptance as you gradually go on with it. You start to realize, like, you're either going to accept it for what it is, or you're going to keep thinking that you can fix it. And we all know you can't fix shit. Or fix someone that don't want to be fixed, but it's not so much a fixing. To them, especially, it's not that they're broken. They just don't want to see. And you can't make them. Y'all be with me. I be eating it, everything. But yeah, that woman situation, I just let her know I'm able to see it. And this is what emotional empathy has done for me. Emotional empathy has will reveal, if you research it, may this be noticed on my body special. Emotional empathy will reveal, if you research it, it says how you have empathy, you're able to put yourself there, but not lose yourself. And that's why I told her, I said, I recognize the mother wound just by what you're saying or mentioning him doing. And she was like, wow, you hit it right on the head. What I expressed to her, yeah. That's what it is. It's a mother wound. And somehow, some way, you met this person, wherever they were, on their journey. You probably didn't have knowledge of what a mother wound was, or that their inner child has dealt with abandonment and so forth. You had a baby. Now, you just building more from that wounded place. And of course, you want to be a family. Of course, you want to build. Who doesn't? That's natural. It's still possible. Nothing, right? Everything is possible. What gets challenging is you cannot coddle that person, because they're going to turn. Where that fly came from? They're going to turn. I know y'all want to see it, but listen. When a fly come here, you invading my space. I'm eating. I don't want you to land nowhere near me. Y'all they shit on the And I feel like it was a fucking monster spirit. Get out of here. But anywho, but yeah, it'll reveal things, because for one, it reveal. Let me tell you one thing about the inner child. The beauty, the beauty of the inner child. Ooh, the spice. The beauty of the inner child will reveal your worth, your internal worth, which is limitless. Your inner child will have you realizing, whatever age you are, well, especially into adulthood, you will start to recover the parts of you that didn't deserve this, the memories, the unresolved memories, emotion, and so forth, right? Where, especially if you came from a foundation of surrounded by people who, let's say, who just focus on money. That doesn't mean they were insecure. That doesn't mean they didn't have low self-esteem. They just hide it well. Some people call them like a lame. You know, somebody still lame just because you got all that money. But still, they can still lack low self-esteem. It's just a mask. So now you got people, again, depending on your environment you grew up in, the sacral chakra and the sacral and solar plexus, or sacral chakra, solar plexus, all these things reveal a part of you that is a form of your confidence, your self-expression, your creativity, and so forth. Think about connection that don't reflect none of that shit. Well, my dear, bruh, whoever you are, sis, listen. How can you not say you're not in a trauma bond? How? If your inner childs aren't able to mesh and get along with each other, then there's telltale signs that somebody in a child or in their childhood didn't receive something. And so when she mentioned what the father was doing, I said, this person knowing what they're doing, even if they're unaware, it's just a form of feeling like they want to take something knowing that it's going to have an effect on you. That's like a manipulative tactic, especially when the child is involved. sometimes I don't know the situation. Like I said, I was telling her, I was like, I'm just looking at the angles because I can relate. But what I'm not doing is going to take sides. Because the emotional, empathetic side wanted me to realize, like, I could put myself with a child because I was a child. I could put myself where both parents are. For me to do that, I'm able to see the wounding. So it's like when you heal through certain stuff, you'll be able to see it play out through other people. Because for one, both adults or people, parents, guardians, they want to experience a child. Most likely, people who really don't want to be a part of a child's life, that's not always the case, but there's some abandonment wounds there. I mean, how is it not? And then some people don't realize they reenact the abandonment wound by just keeping the child to themselves and away from the person. And that's not saying just that something didn't transpire, that it happened, but I'm talking about in the way, the intention to purposely, let's say, gaslight or rage bait the person. Or almost feel like they're protecting the child. And they don't know sometimes in that situation, over time, you're going to grow resentment depending on the situation because you took on that role and then want to point the finger later on down in the years that it's the other person that didn't want to be there. Tell me. Y'all don't be wanting the truth, but it is what it is. Like I said, everyone's situation is the same. Abuse is abuse, though. Because there's a lot of men, especially, that have dealt with women, and a lot of women, too, that have dealt with people. And systematically, you got to think how this shit is designed, was designed to keep y'all in a state of doing shit by yourself so you never sit down and rest and regulate your nervous system. As much as people want to say this person or that person, listen. Deep down, there's something going on. There's something going on that you didn't care about before you lay down with that person. There's something going on that you didn't care about. That you didn't even know about. That person was dealing with. There's something you didn't care to see during that moment. And then it revealed this ugly head, that's what I'm saying. And now people are surprised. And most of the time you only get so much of a one side of a story to where now there's so much that is being uncovered that people ain't outrun no damn. People, you can't outrun no energy. You ain't outrun shit. You ain't outran nothing. That's why there's two sides to a coin. Some people don't even get the other side. On why their father and or mother made a certain decision. Like I said, there's so many different perspectives from this. I learned how even people abuse their power and try to make the other person be. I've seen it both from mother and father's perspective. But I also recognize the fact of how much it affects the child. No matter how much your selfish ass thinking you were doing what is right and all of that, it still affects the child. It still is going to affect the child. They're still going to ask questions. They're going to come to the awareness. No matter how you twist the story and so forth, there still is going to be a curiosity there to who supported them in creating them. Let people find out. Let them come into their awareness. I also mentioned to the mother, I'm like, because she had mentioned how the father, the daughter would do so much. He would let her do so much over there. But, let her do anything. And I tell people, you got to focus so much on your well-being that how that energy is playing out, it will all come full circle. Just as I learned, a child will come in to know who really is safe for them and secure. Eventually, and when you think about the fact of some parents should have actually been more, or kids should have actually been more safe in other environments rather than just under another parent who's just doing it for whatever reason because they don't know how to do things through conflict resolution. And this comes with growth. Y'all, when you realize the karma, we've been dealing with people who are undeveloped. You knew at that time, for some of y'all, you open your legs continuously. Men too, you knew at that time where she was and you still had another baby. You didn't give nobody get, even after the first child, nobody thought it was important to say, you know what? I think we need to part ways. Nobody thought it was important to say, hey, I need to get to know myself a little bit more. We weren't given this stuff. So now you repeating another cycle through abandonment by having more children and so forth. That's all I see at the root cause of certain environments. It's abandonment issues. There's no other way. People want to feel. And when women feel because they master emotion, they have gotten tricked to believing that sex is a way for them to feel something, be filled up. They escape through it, especially if they're dealing with trauma. They want to feel. They don't know how to feel sensually. Yeah. They don't know how to feel for themselves first. So they feel like someone has to do it for them. Again, put more on their inner child and knowing what that inner child really needs. Same goes for men too, where they don't have no structure and discipline. They repeat the same cycle. Somebody with low self-esteem will come along and let them lay down with them. I'm telling you, once you start looking at the inner child, your worth changes. You will see that whole person you don't have kids with completely different. Especially if you had sexual trauma, go absent. Or practice celibacy, however y'all say it. Whatever, you do that, see what happens. Watch how much it reveals for you, either in the dynamic or away from it, how much the addiction, especially with someone with a sexual addiction, or dealt with some type of trauma, what it revealed. For one, it probably exposed the foundation you built it on. But it's a commitment you have to be to it. That don't mean you go out there and do this with somebody else, because that's most likely going to come up. But also, it's going to reveal the other person's pattern and their inability to be disciplined, to have structure and so forth. Because if they have an addiction, they don't have structure. Addiction to money, substance abuse, food, I mean, any type of thing to where there's too much of something. And it goes back to basic human needs. What that child didn't get, which is still that man and woman right now that you see today. Sometimes you got to go through things once or twice to realize, like, man, I can't let this happen a third time. I'm telling you, had I not sat still, recognized my sexual trauma, I definitely would have had more than I probably would have had. If I really looked at if all the children, all the women that would have had kids, yeah. Probably would have had 10 kids. Yep. And then with every person, you're dealing with something different. When I actually hear about somebody, this is not all, that wanting somebody to have this and that without actually getting on their own, abandonment issue. I'm not saying people not wrong for having high standards, but it's unrealistic in a way. To where you know you haven't even experienced it or lived it, but you want something in a way to where you haven't went through certain experiences or went through certain things to obtain it, but you have these expectations that somebody should be this when your father or mother never reflected that. And then you don't, for one, want to do the healing or take accountability. Yeah, that's crazy. Or put in the work, or do the inner work, then put in the work to obtain it. That's diabolical. You want somebody to fulfill some needs that you never met for yourself. And that's crazy. You want somebody to fulfill needs that you never have met when you were as a child. Basic human needs. And that should be sounding wild. People want somebody to come along and provide all these things. She should have this, he should have that. I'd be like, what? Then when you get it, have you not even went through, learned, lived experiences so far, you're going to fucking lose it. You're going to sabotage it. Because you don't know how to maintain it, sustain it. That's why so many people hit lottery and so forth. They're not mentally, emotionally prepared. Like they tell themselves there's different parts to it. But again, this is why you can see people abandonment wounds. That's why they feel money can fix things. So I can see why certain people would play the lottery. I can see why certain people would do things, but it's still another form. This is not everybody. I'm just looking at it from an imbalanced place. They would escape through that. I saw a story where a dude won once or twice and was still out there robbing people. Huh? What is you doing? Well, some people who come into it, a year or two later, some for boom, gone. Gava berry. Sparkling water. They could have added a little more flavor to that motherfucker. I can barely taste it. Yeah. I can't taste the guava, or the berry shit. It's more like ga and burr. Cause this ain't it. That's more like spark. It's funny seeing, I just got distracted by a fly. That nigga sitting back. I'm like, what is you wiping your hands or something? This nigga like, what do flies be doing? Big ass, and then he just like this. Like I ain't too fond of flies, dog. I'm not against certain stuff, but gosh. Then I went, to the Upper Peninsula or somewhere in Michigan. Man, them fucking flies bite. I'm talking about, dog, stinging. I'm like, who designed this? Oh, I tell you one thing. Certain places don't have mosquitoes, because in the South, good God almighty, boy. You can't tell me we ain't in the Amazon. It's like everywhere you go, it's something different. I don't know how true it is, but I know I'm just going off and stuff. But anyway, I don't know how true it is in Australia, but they said them spiders and whatever else. What? How we not living? How we not living? Like, what if we live in the imagination of the creator? Like, this is some freaky shit. When I was out in California, I look at these trees. These bitches are like branches. They look like eyelashes compared to the trees out there. I said, how is a tree this fucking big? This bitch is the size of a house. No cap, as y'all say, no cap. Nah, but for real, I was like, bro, you can drive through this mother. I said, this is a house. Oh, damn, well, ain't another fly. Well, yeah. I feel like that's all I want to cover. I want to go somewhere right now. Well, ooh, it's finna be hot in that cup of tea, boy. I been. Yeah, man. I mean, that's just me. I told myself that I was gonna ride 5 miles today. I should just go knock it out. Is the wind blowing hard? As much as I be riding, that definitely would. Let me see. That definitely would be about 5 miles. I told myself I want to start when that temperature get hot. What is that? What is that? Oh, kid. Yeah. It's a little nip. Not too cold, but you know it's supposed to be hot. And I'm trying to ride shirtless. I do not like doing shit with clothes on like that. That's just me. Put me in a climate where it's just hot all the time. What we need clothes for? I mean, bottles, of course, but what? For what? And then I started to notice that too. When you go to certain places, you don't even need that much shit as you thought you did. That's one thing I love about me is that I also learned about this inner child. It's like just your journey through life, you just realize like you're just learning to adapt. And when you think about your childhood, you basically had to adapt when you didn't even want to, especially to dysfunctionality. So now you're learning to adapt to functioning, balancing your nervous system, realizing like, you know what, at a point in time I adapted to this, now I have to unadapt. Like I'm not. I have to like detach. Ooh, I think I'm just gonna cut the grass. My little cat out there, here she come. She know her signal. So yeah, temperatures, bro. That's a part of adapting, though. I could just start cutting this grass. Yeah. I gotta do something. I don't create a what? Hey, girl. I ain't rubbing today. Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to finish this too because I was talking about the jealousy thing. It's just something that the importance of privacy too. Like I feel like that's what we're shifting towards, like the value system of like everyone don't gotta know what you got. And that's also the fact of the beauty in not knowing the unknown. There's people right now in my life with the healing that I've done, they didn't even know I can draw. Shit, my mama and them didn't even know. There's people in my family didn't even fucking know I could draw. Like, cause that's how much they were distracted, y'all. Y'all gotta realize, like, when people have been so dissociated from reality, from their emotions and so forth, oh my gosh. You realize how much they don't know nothing about you. I gotta take a picture. This is a very beautiful view. They don't know nothing about you. Once you realize like they don't know nothing about you, it's because they don't know themselves. Know thyself to show thyself approved. They don't know themselves. Some people didn't even know like basketball shit by my dad not choosing to be there, or where he did return more so like around before I was a teenager. How you mad at me because I'm trying to simply first time seeing your ass? Like people be holding stuff and it really be triggering them. I should be able to get all my shit out. I should be able to get my rocks out with you, homeboy. Those who know what I should be able to get my rocks out with you, bro. My rocks out with you. For real, because I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? What you mean? You weren't there? You don't know what I went through? Then it's going to bring up things for me as far as like as a child that I had to express to him that I wrote about or I actually talked to him about. I'm like, bro, you know the shit I went through? You don't know. You don't know. So let me express to you, but still you don't know the depths. All these repressed emotions around the fact of not having a man there but having one there that was abusive. I cannot relate to you because I don't do that. I didn't do that. But that's the thing I tell you, bro. People when they don't know and have knowledge or get to know themselves, you'll start to realize like you live in a world full, well, not my world, but you will see people living in a world like they're phonies. They're fake. They're fake as can be. I don't care what their status and shit is and so forth. It's just like, I got friends that's athletes. I got people who do a lot of stuff. I'm like, bro, it never occurred to you to get sis or somebody, you got enough money. You got enough fucking money. This ain't about counting nobody's pocket. You got enough money, so you say, to go start a whole new life. To really build on some shit where, again, I tell you, it's not built upon inner child. It's to prey on the inner child. It's to keep the child, the inner world dysregulated. It's to keep the nervous system. And people destroy themselves, bro. I know so many people, bro, their body's fucked up. They're mental, emotional, spiritual. Y'all don't realize, like, it ain't just a physical thing. It's the fact of, like, them going so much to where once they start to sit down, y'all gotta realize, like, the nervous system now is trying to process. The brain is trying to process. That's why you see people come and that's why I don't care for the word retired. What the fuck you gonna get retired for? Recycle? What you becoming tired again. You basically saying you finna go out here, you ain't gonna sit down. That's okay. You basically saying you don't know how to fucking rest. So basically I don't need to be around you. Cause you still gonna be a ticking time bomb when I try to encourage you to sit the fuck down. Hey, chill, bruh. Sit, rest, bruh. You ain't gotta go out, bruh. Oh, bruh, I forgot. You've been consistently out here doing this, doing that. I saw my grandmother 30 years, I think, at a place. 30 years. Even when she had to because of the load she had. The irresponsibility of people not even wanting to show up for their own kids. Like, I'm just like, but what's to learn from that is people didn't create a balance to where you took on so much to where you didn't know how to say no. You didn't have no fucking boundaries. You didn't have no boundaries with your kids. I would have told my mama fucking no. Or these kids, hey. And I'm not, hey, I probably would have been doing my journey a little bit different, but hey, I just probably would have known certain people. I mean, I can still say I would have been who I was. It just would have been different. The energy would have played out. The storyline probably would have been a little different. But ain't no way. I'm telling y'all, it's the same pattern. You see people, like I said, it's not my life. To each their own. Some people don't know how to rest, bro. You a ticking time bomb. I see my grandma, I was like, damn, why you so mad? I see why you mad. Because anytime you try to sit down, that motherfucking nervous system start twitching. Shit start glitching. You know, memories start to come on. Shit start to sit with you. Motherfucking mind get to racing because you never sat down and brung clarity. You never sat with that shit. Can you imagine people over so many years? Whoo! Shit! That's what we're dealing with here. Hey, bro, yeah, man. You know, I seen something the other day. My man, somebody retired from basketball or some shit. And I get the passion. But you also, again, the compassion you have to have for your inner child. You've been so far into something that basketball is all you know. That's scary to me. Because I realized, like, when you think about what people were given very young, basketball was all they were given. No other options. Same for other people. When you sit down, you realize there's so many different versions of you. Even the versions of you that you repress. When your mom and them said, no, you ain't gonna be no this and that. You can't, or what you talking about? You write stories. What is it? Whole time, you didn't think that could give you an abundant and prosperous life. Yes, it can. Yes, it will. Yes, it can, and yes, it will. I'm going to stay consistent in this shit. Something going to have to give. I always, man, I'm grateful. I'm receiving, I tell you, the more I plant seeds for my imagination or open something up, that's another stream. That's another channel of something that leads right to the ocean of abundance. Currency. If all waters connect, then obviously they circulate or they cycle. If all things connect, obviously I'm on to something. If I look at the ocean as, you can say whether all things dealing with currency, crypto, currencies around the world. Think about when you're in something locally. Even think about the people who, I don't know everyone's life, but people are so focused on the US dollar and not recognizing shit is changing, shit is shifting digitally, already has, and so forth. That says a lot about how much they've abandoned themselves to just stick and stay stagnant in something familiar and not have an imagination to feel like they can go to another country, experience this and meet other people and travel here. Imagination. If you can travel in your mind, you are already there. If you can think it, so shall you do it. Or what is that? I think that's what it is. So shall you have it. Yeah. I tell myself all the time, man, listen. My imagination is so powerful. I know that shit is catching up with me. I'm not chasing it. It's catching up with me. Multiple streams, channels, creeks, rivers, and everything. Because certain people are also channels. Certain things are connection to that river, to that abundance, to that ocean. Think about that. When you go from this place, this place, this place, that place. And I gradually started to see that in my life to where the healing journey has brought me so much structure and balance to where I was like, oh shit. Had I stayed in this mindset and so forth, how would I have met people from other parts of the world? I thought like, oh, when I was doing the modeling thing or certain stuff, yeah, I met people. But then it's like, once you really start to venture out and explore and build more experiences, this is what you came here to do. Yes, it can come to you, but sometimes you're being called to go to it. And then your gifts, I know my gifts, like, I'm grateful. Like, it's going to be to write somebody with art, whether pertaining to my art, pertaining to, and it's almost scary because it's already happening. Pertaining to my arts, to my writings and so forth, to where it's like, again, you're sought after, and in such a way to where you realize nothing was in vain. To where now, where you were rejected here for something, you're accepted and approved here. And then it's even more on a more authentic and integrative platform or something to where you get to be who you are unapologetically. You get to connect and do all this and so forth. I told you, you gotta let stuff play out. I've been sitting here like, you just gotta let shit play out. You gotta let it play out. And then when you're there, you let your inner child express itself. Ain't no holding back. It's just what it is. Because the energy gonna speak. Not even just speak. The energy, yeah, it's gonna speak for itself. The vibe is just there. But that's all I gotta say.